So
Yes,
it is just scary little.
that is true, you know. How are you?
I'm good. What about you?
Okay, I'm fine too. Thank you. So I think this is our first session together.
Yeah, this is my first session with you, actually.
Okay, in that case, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So my name is Bhola, and I am originally from Jharkhand. I live in city called Lohardaga.
Okay, you live where?
I live in Lohardaga, city called Lohardaga.
Okay, and where is it?
State name is Jharkhand.
Okay, it's in Jharkhand itself. So you are originally from there, and even now you are actually there itself.
Yes, actually, it is my native place. I was born and raised here in Lohardaga.
Okay. And so far the sessions you have taken, what feedback have the tutors given you?
Okay,
Uh,
so you are asking me to what tutor gave me feedback. What
exactly.
feedback I get from tutor?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so actually, they all the tutor. Actually, I don't remember all the tutors the feedback,
That's okay.
but most of them, as far as I remember, they asked me to read much more and more because my I need to work on my pronunciation. There are few, sentence constructs. I feel hesitate. I feel, I just jump here to there. I just do not form sentence correctly, and also I need to work on my fluency. I need to practice more and more. So these are
Hmm.
some few advice which I have got from tutor.
Okay. Yeah, you have summed it up very nicely. That's good. Thank you for that. I will quickly just give you a couple of things. First of all, it's not I feel hesitate. Actually, you said something like I feel hesitate. It would be I hesitate. By itself,
I
that works.
hesitate.
Yeah, I hesitate a lot when I'm speaking. You just have to write reading comprehension A1, A2. You will get the two links. Okay, you can do that. So
Yes.
that would be good. Besides the links that I've given you, have you ever like read anything or listened to anything that you could share with me?
Yes, for my listening practice, I follow, I listen podcast on YouTube. Actually, I follow Alavadia, and whenever I get time, not too much, but whenever I feel like, I have nothing to do, I am just free. I just try to spend my time while listening podcast.
Hmm.
So that's how
Okay,
I practice for my listening. And if I
that's
talk
really
about
nice. Yes, continue.
yeah. Yeah, so if I talk about my reading, so yes, I am the person who, since my childhood, I am the person who, used to shield myself away from reading. So it is literally complicated for me to read book. And but now that a tutor asked me because it is very, very, beneficial or, good for me. Also for my pronunciation purpose. So nowadays I am practicing one of the book which is think like a monk. I about few weeks, couple of weeks ago, and I have been reading that book. I
Okay,
have been reading that book. Yes.
that's good. That's great. You know, I will just give you one recommendation here. If let's say you are not really you're set against reading, that's set against reading. It's not the end of the world. The thing is that when you have to speak well, if you just listen to a lot of stuff, that would help you a lot. I'm not saying reading is not a good thing. It is really a good thing. It will teach you a lot of stuff. But let's say you are not as interested in reading, you can choose not to do it as long as you
Yes.
compensate for it through listening. That is very important, you know. But yeah, you can. And the thing is that many people, when they try to read, they just start with a very big long book. If you try it with these exercises, they're made for learners, you know. So the language is simple, they're short enough. So maybe you will enjoy that. You can try that. But yeah, reading a book is also good as long as you like it. That's good. That's great. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, tell me about the podcast. What the podcasts are about, and take any podcast. Just try to explain it to me.
Okay, so the podcast actually. So which podcast should I tell you? Like, so today I was listening a podcast which was between Ranveer Alavadia and what was the writer's name? Neil D'Souza. He's a paranormal investigator and he's a Indian writer. So he writes, like horror. He writes about horror books. So they, the podcast, he actually invites all the people who are, good at their fields or they have something achieved in their life, something, massive
They have
regarding them.
achieved something in their lives.
Sorry.
They have achieved something in their lives.
Yeah, they have achieved something in their life. So he invites only those people in his podcast. They all, he just not invite a podcast in a particular area. Like he invite in his podcast, he actually invites, people who come from different background, different places, like politicians, actors, actress, or writers. They are, so he invites all of them. So the for he I now in that time he was invited Neil De Silva. So the conversation was happening between them. So there he just he just asked lot of questions from the writers, and the writers express all of his thoughts, all of the experience which he had in his past time.
He has had in the
He
in the
has had in his past time.
hmm. Okay, okay. And if you want to convert it to past perfect, you would say he had had. It becomes a bit typical, but yeah, he had had
He had.
in his life. Okay, okay, that was a very good description. And would you like to tell me a little more about the actual details, like about this writer? Did you enjoy the podcast?
Yes, actually, I enjoyed the podcast. I'm so because I am the person who love knowing about ghosts, whether they exist or not, whether they survive or not. Are we are the only people here in this earth, or there is something beyond us which we can't see, which we can't just which can just feel. So I am just enjoy those things. So I literally love the podcast because he in that conversation, writer just experience. He actually the way he spoke, it seemed I felt like he has had a lot of experience about occult, about paranormal, and he told everything in a good way. So I literally enjoy the podcast, and
Hmm.
I not watched or listen only once, but I listened twice or I think thrice. I like that.
Ah, okay, okay. That's really nice. That's great. And how long was the podcast?
The podcast, the video length was 49 or 50 minutes,
Okay,
I
okay,
think.
that's nice. Do you believe in ghosts? Do you think that there are ghosts or even aliens? Any of these two?
Actually, as far as I remember, and as far as I concern, actually, I do believe in go. I do not in. I would say alien, but I think ghosts. I do believe because maybe look, I live in village, so here all of the member in my family, actually, our people here, most of them they believe, they think that there is something beyond us which we can't see, but which we can experience, which we can feel sometimes, but not often. Just we feel like just as a god, we just feel or we just worship, we just believe, just like that.
Okay, okay, and that's yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, and that's really nice. Have you ever watched any horror movies? Do they interest you? I'm sure that they interest you.
Yes, I have a watch, but I'm
Hmm.
not comfortable to share here because it is
Ah,
night, so
yes.
it is a scary little.
That is true, there is one session where this is the actual topic, paranormal activities, and one or two times it really did happen that I had that topic with a couple of my learners at night, and they were like, no, no, can we just talk about something else, because they were actually quite scared. And
I
that
am
is true.
also one of them.
Hmm. You have. Okay, that's really nice.
Yes.
So just quickly, a couple of errors before we move ahead to the topic. Yeah. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. In any case, I just want to give you, as far as my feedback is concerned, one thing I noticed, your grammar is very good. You were able to manage very many different complicated sentence structures quite well. All the tenses, all sorts of things. At the already the feedback that you have mentioned, it is the same thing from my side, just the articulation, the pronunciation that you could improve on. And as you go on reading, as you go on listening, particularly listening, you will be able to improve that yourself. You know, the more you listen to people talk in a very natural way, the more you would be able to, you know, improve that. Okay, but yeah, it was really fun talking to you, and perhaps in some other session we'll continue our discussion, you know.
Yes, sir, definitely. I literally enjoyed the session a lot.
Thank
You
you,
know,
thank you very much.
I actually, to be honest, before joining the session, I was little, nervous